What is going on, good people? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Say That Podcast. And y'all know the drill. Don't say this, say that. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to my last episode with my man Khalif. He's back all the way home from Las Vegas. He's back all the way home from Los Angeles, excuse me. And it was a dope episode. It was dope to catch up with him and finally meet him. So if you haven't already, go watch that episode right now. It's on YouTube and listen on Apple and Spotify. And as always, make sure to follow myself on Instagram. It's REPETE617. And the podcast page is say_that_pod. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special guest. You know, she's one of the most hardest working artists out here. And she finally has a new album that's out now. And she's here to talk about it. And I'm super thankful that she's able to come on the show. Please give it up for Nim K. What's going on? You already know.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited because I really like your podcast.
I appreciate that.
I'm really excited to be here and talk about everything we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we've connected for a while. We said what's up for a while. Obviously, like one of the first times I saw you perform, I was like, yeah, she's got it as a performer. That's that's what I'm saying. So to get into it, like I was saying, your ascent as an artist has just been a joy to watch. Like I said, I remember seeing you first perform, and I'm like, you know what? That's a star right there. It's proven, like, she's got it. So, but through all the relentless hard work and dedication, you've evolved so much over the years. And now that, you're kind of in this new space as an artist, how has your mindset changed from, like, when you first started to now to also where you're gonna be years down the line?
Yeah, it's a pretty good question. I mean, I have a whole new appreciation for albums, just because these past 2 years I've been working on one and making a lot of executive decisions, and it's not easy, especially with your own art. It's not easy to pick it apart and all that other stuff. So I have a big appreciation for artists who continue to make albums and like real projects. But I think as an artist, I wasn't really developed as an artist. I was more of a performer. So there were a lot of things I had to learn, and these past 2 years I've just learned so much of the back end. I've learned like what it really takes to make it in an industry that isn't designed for women.
Absolutely.
And I think I've grown a lot. I feel like I started this journey not like as an adolescent, because I was probably like 25, 26 years old, but that few years has changed me a lot. Like, I feel like I'm like become like a real woman, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think through this journey, I found myself. I found, what I don't want, what I want, like, out of this journey. And I definitely want to continue to pursue, music, just maybe like in a different way. And also help other artists and help them develop like their sound and their, their movement or what it is they want to accomplish, because I don't feel like I really knew exactly what I wanted to accomplish when I embarked on the journey, but it's really important to have a direction and to have like a checkpoint through every endeavor, because you can get really lost and really overwhelmed if you're just kind of doing whatever and you don't really have a purpose. So I feel like I've just become really wise, and with that wisdom, I want to share it with other people,
Well, that's very noble of yourself to say, because a lot of people have, if you're like an artist that's like on the rise, they keep a lot of stuff tucked in. But I feel in Massachusetts specifically, because I remember having this similar talk with Term when he was on, that there's just so much to give to an artist for advice and like lessons and stuff like that. And if they don't take it, that's on them. But at least, you make the effort. You actually have like a concise mindset that like, you know what, I've been helped and I want to help other people.
Right, exactly. I think it's really important for us as a community to stick together and help each other. There's room for everybody. There's enough for everybody to eat. We don't all do the same thing.
Absolutely.
If, this person's a rapper, that person's a rapper, you don't rap about the same stuff. You're not the same person. You have different trials and tribulations. So I believe that everyone can win and everyone can be a part of the pot. Like, it's very greedy, I feel like, to, withhold that information and not want to rise with your community. Because then your community just stays the same and it doesn't grow. Because then, maybe other people it'll rub off.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I believe just like negative energy can be contagious, like, positive energy is just as contagious, if not more. Yeah. And it can create, it can move waves, it can move mountains, So I feel like it's really important, no matter what, to, not be bitter and not feel like, oh, this person's got to go through what I went through to get this knowledge. Like, I feel like sometimes it's more valuable when you do go through it to get the knowledge. But I mean, I'm not going to hide free knowledge from people, especially when I want to see all my friends win. I want them to experience the things I've got to experience in their own lane. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I love the whole, like, how, you kind of think like me too, because when I first started the podcast, my old co-host Mike was like, yo, bro, we just got to come with the right energy. We got to come with, like, just being those people. And he said this thing that's stuck with me ever since. It's like 5 years now. He goes, energy can never be destroyed. It can only be, like, replicated and, like, made into something else. So I just love the fact that, like, you're so, like, spiritually, like, there, and, like, you're very concise, because like, what will come to you will also come back to you.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And a lot of people really don't get that.
No, they don't.
And I've seen it happen to a lot of people where they have this negative energy and this negative mindset, and 3 years later they're just nobody. They've burned the bridges. They've, like, had these, like, beefs and stuff like that, and now look at them now. No one wants to work with them. No one wants to, like,
exactly,
because that's how you carry yourself as a human being. You know what I'm saying? Right. So as you've listed the points of your career up to this point, RIAA certified.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Signed artist. Come on now. That's unbelievable. That's what I like to call off the strength. But those are just 2 landmark goals already in your young career. So how are you going to parlay what you've experienced, what you've accomplished so far into, like, the next stages of your career? Because, like I like to say, and I said this to Khalif too on the last episode, Tom Brady's my favorite Tom Brady quote. What's your favorite ring? The next one.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I'm already working on my next album.
Wow, already, all right.
Yeah, and I'm pretty much like I've gotten a good portion of it finished. I've fallen in love with creating albums because it tells a story.
Right.
I think that's really important for you to tell a story or to share some type of substance with your music. It's a lot more powerful that way. But yeah, I plan on creating more albums, creating more moments, and eventually I want to create a space that provides opportunities for other people.
So kind of like a teaching course on.
Yeah, those
like
are like my biggest goals. I mean, obviously, just like any other artist, I would eventually love to get a Grammy or something.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course,
right.
But for right now, I feel like you have to think in steps. You can't just fast forward all the way to the end. Another thing I think people don't realize is that a lot of these artists we see on those stages, they've been doing this for a decade, if not more.
Oh yeah.
They behind the scenes, they've been working so hard, and I think because all my success has come so quickly and unexpectedly, it's gonna be tough, to I think top a lot of the things that I've done. But I know God willing, I just know that it'll happen. Just because I know that me being me takes me a lot of places and gets me into a lot of doors that I wouldn't have thought I'd be in, just because someone's like, oh, I like you, you're cool, So I think my shorter term goals are to just create more projects, classic projects, because I believe this project I put out was pretty classic.
And I will attest to that.
Yeah, an instant classic.
We won't get into it, but yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to create more real classic music, maybe dabble in other genres, and create, opportunities for other people to experience even just a glimpse of what I experienced, these past 2 years.
And I will say that I wouldn't sell yourself short on, obviously it is unexpected, as you've said, but you still accomplished that and you're still capable of that. Mm-hmm. So I would still if you did it once, you can do it again. And I understand the era that we're in where a lot of up and coming artists, they look at the TikTok people, or they look at the Instagram people. It's oh, that's how quickly it is to blow up overnight. It's why didn't I do it? But it's and this is another conversation me and Mike had. If we blew up after, let's say, episode 5 or like 10, I would be in a really shitty position because
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do to maintain that. I
Right.
will gladly take the grind of 5 years and 100 and more episodes later than like blowing up after episode 10.
Right.
And I just feel more artists have to understand that yeah, the grind sucks. The grind sucks with anything.
It's necessary,
Even
though.
if you're not an artist, you're working construction or whatever. It sucks regardless, but it's super necessary because it's gonna teach you who you are as a person, and it's gonna humble you and also reward you.
Right.
So absolutely, what you have accomplished is awesome, and the whole scene, and for someone who's listening to music, is very proud of you. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Absolutely, and we look forward to much more success. But definitely, like, the head you have on your shoulders as someone who's still young in the game, but you know what you want out of it and you know what you want to do, that's going to take you to even more rooms and even further than you can imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So speaking of the album, let's get into it. Queen of the Misfits is out right now. If you haven't already, go bump that. It's awesome. I love it. As you said, this took 2 years to make.
Yeah.
I could tell, but I could tell in a good way. It's because it's crafted with care. So take me kind of through the journey from day one to now that the album's out, and how your feelings changed towards it. The cuts you had to maybe make on the album, because it is executive produced by yourself and Term.
Right.
So I like that. I feel like a lot of artists have to executive produce their stuff,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that know what they want out of it the most on this album.
Exactly. I mean, from the beginning, I wasn't really sure. I knew what I signed up for, but I wasn't expecting everything that happened. And I don't think Term was either. I think we really had just planned on, following up, with the Paul Wall album and just kind of making a classic album and kind of moving on. But through these 2 years, we've done so much that, like, not that we lost sight of the album at all, but it was almost like, like we weren't just nonstop working on the album. And I think that's a big reason why, like, I might have enjoyed it more, because, like, it was just little things along the journey, just like in the moment, like made and then catered to this album so well. Like, everything just fits so well, and it wasn't like planned or anything. Like, most of these songs, these beats, they were really just like, oh, we just got a beat from Dame Grease. Like, I need your hook, like, tonight. I need it like yesterday, like, type thing. I need to send it back to him to make sure he's okay with it. Oh, we got a beat from Statik, like, right, like a few months before I'm supposed to pass this thing in, and I have to make a whole song, to this beat. And it's like, I think it was just like, just perfect and organized chaos.
Yeah.
And I think that defines me a lot of the times. So, I mean, you figure, the beginning, I was, sitting on Term's couch. We're having a conversation about how he's like, I want to do something really special for you. I really, want to help you, and I want to connect you to my fan base and give you complete access to everything I have access to. At the time when that was said to me, I didn't quite understand what that meant. Granted, I mean, Termanology is a legend, in his own right, but I didn't really know who he was. I didn't really know his history. My older cousins knew who he was, but I mean, I had completely missed that era.
Right.
And
I did too, because he's just not our generation.
yeah, like, and I mean, I love hip hop, but there was a lot of things I learned these 2 years that I had no idea were even a thing. So it's like, here you are, like, someone who just loves to sing and like likes to perform and loves to like watch other people perform and loves live music, and this person who sees into the future what the possibilities could be, and you have no idea. Right. And you have no idea what you're in for at all. And then you go from just doing local shows at the Jungle or at the Middle East or wherever, to going to New York every single week and constantly meeting celebrities that you've been listening to since you were little, or going to SOBs and and getting on stage and performing in front of a ton of people, or going to the Bushwick Collective and performing in front of thousands of people.
Insane.
You know,
Insane.
And it all looks so glamorous from the outside because the pictures obviously look amazing, but it's like just this little bit of amazement and then all this work, sweat, blood, and tears. You know, and it takes a lot out of you. You know, I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed time with my family, which everyone knows I love my family so much. I sacrificed, time for myself, sacrificed a lot to create this album. You know, a lot of pain behind the album, but also a lot of joy, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But that's the game, and you can't cheat the hustle. You can't cheat the grind. There's no way that you can skip all these steps and still be prepared to move forward. And I really had to prove myself. I had to go to New York every week for about a year just for these people to take me seriously. Now I have fans everywhere I go, because people know, and I think the hardest part about the journey was not that it was difficult, but making sure I stayed true to my values and who I was. And I'm not going to lie, along the way, there were times where I was losing grips on reality and on myself. And just because of all the overwhelming opportunities and things that might not go the way they're supposed to or the way they're planned, or things having to happen, like literally in the next 10 minutes, you have to decide whether you're going to go or not, or whether you're going to, spit this verse or not. You know what I mean? So it was something I wasn't quite expecting, but an experience I definitely needed to understand whether I wanted to continue pursuing anything in this industry, and also like what kind of role I wanted to play. Like, learning all these different people and the roles they've played throughout hip hop and its, at its birth. Some people were rappers at the beginning, and now, they're photographers or videographers, or are now they're DJs, or now they're producers. Or I think that was a big thing too, finding like where I think I can keep the ball rolling, because throughout these 2 years too, as a lot of hip hop legends have passed away. People I literally, so sad, I met Fat Man Scoop, a month before he passed away.
No shit, really?
Yeah, the Bushwick Collective last year. Wow. And that's someone I used to hear on the radio. That's like a voice I'll never forget.
School dances, everything. Like,
yeah.
We, in a way, we kind of like grew up with him.
Yeah, exactly. So like I also understood that, not that hip hop's dying, but the people who founded it aren't here anymore, and it's our job to keep it going. So it's like you have to think about what impact you're making on the future, the people you're touching. Also, like, through this album, I wanted everyone to be able to listen to it. I didn't want it to just be for hip hop heads or just be for adults. I wanted kids to be able to listen to it. I wanted people to be influenced by it, because I've been influenced heavily by music my whole life, and it quite literally saved my life, many a times. So I wanted people to be able to listen to something that they could really just listen to, vibe out to, whether it's in the back and they're really listening or not. But I wanted any person from any walk of life to be able to listen to the album and at least enjoy one song. Yeah. So this journey, like my answer has been all over the place.
No, but it's just because it's so concise, and like you really like literally took me from like 2 years ago to now.
Yeah.
And I think, that's what I want people to hear, because people from an outside eye think that if somebody makes an album, it's like, all right, you maybe spent like 6 months on it, 3 months. It's like, no, like, unless you're an artist, you understand that. Or like a hip hop fan, you understand the process. But like the casual listener will like, maybe let's hear this and like, oh, she did it in like a month or something. Like, no, like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And I think it was very beautifully said how, how just quickly we're losing hip hop legends. And it breaks my heart that a lot of them aren't growing old when they should, So, but what you just said of how, like, you want everybody to hear, you want everybody to listen, that's going to carry hip hop and just the music you make in general for like decades to come.
Right.
Because, you're not just putting out an album to put out an album. You're putting out an album because you wanted to craft a timeless classic.
Right.
You wanted to craft an album that when we think about Massachusetts music in that future time frame, that's going to be one of the albums that comes up. So just how, you have that OG mentality to you, and I just feel like people who don't, they have to learn, in whether that be from like you or like, watching this or somewhere else. It's the rap game's a long game.
Yeah.
It like I said, not to always go back to term, but it was like I remember he said, "Don't give up, and know when to give up." And like I was watching that like today, just having my own self doubts about the podcast, and it's so learning as you go and like knowing what you want out of it. That's the essence of the core right there.
Your why.
Right, exactly. So is there any other like message you want people to hear about this album, or is it just not noticeable on the album, but as you listen, you kind of figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, the title itself, comes from me literally being like the leader of anyone who feels left out. I always want people to feel included, hence why I want everyone to be able to listen to my music. I want everyone to, be able to be together no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, no matter where you've been, no matter what your interests are, what you look like. I want everyone to feel like they have a seat at the table, because it's not fair, to exclude somebody because you don't agree with something they have going on, or maybe they're not cool enough, or they don't have the latest gear. Like, that's no reason to exclude anybody. And I've always been, I bully the bullies. Like, that's the type of person I am. Like, I don't like when, people are, feel left out. It's not okay. Like, for the majority of my life, I've been pretty much bullied, like, for no reason other than just existing. Right. So it's like, I feel like maybe people won't understand when they first listen to it, but it's just talking about, that journey, right, and talking about that journey of just being, I don't know, just not quite knowing where you're going, but knowing your purpose and knowing that you want to make a difference. And, you're just, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. It's like, 'cause even the cover, like, it's almost like I'm looking to, like, over the horizon, or I'm looking to the promised land. That's where I want to take people. Music is something that is very powerful, and it's something that can really affect people and move mountains. And I found a lane with this music that, like, I can, positively influence people to be themselves. And that's the whole point of the album, is standing your ground no matter what opportunity comes your way, and being yourself and not selling out, because it's very tempting and it's very easy to sell out. Like going on anything and someone being like, "Oh, it'd be a lot better if you took that jacket off." And me being like, "Well, the whole point of wearing this jacket is to promote my friend." Right. "Oh, well, no one knows who your friend is anyway." I said, "That's the point. No one knows who That's they are, crazy. But they might now. And I'm going to keep this jacket on." Or, or being like, "Oh, well, you can only see it from the waist up, and people want to see, what you look like. They can still see what I look like with the jacket on." Right. Or, "Oh, well, maybe you shouldn't do this because it's not conventional, like the way your song is set up." Well, I like it. Right. It's my album. It's my song. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Or like just little things like that, where it's like, "Oh, you should talk more," or, "Oh, you should be a little more loud, or you should feed in more to the feminine thing going on in rap right now." And it's like, what, being a hoe? Like, that's not what I am. No, absolutely. Like, I'm not, if I don't know something, I'm not afraid to admit that I don't know. I'm not afraid to, be humbled. I'm not afraid of any of that. So I just feel like this album is really just a testament and a glimmering hope of what can and could be and what will be in the future of music. Right. You don't have to be this cookie cutter thing that they or have the look or this and that. I just feel like music is for everybody, and it should be for everybody. And, that's my message, is that you being yourself is worth it. It might take a lot longer, to accomplish things being yourself, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth every piece.
And just like the stuff, were telling me where someone's like, oh, you got to take out the jacket. It's like the hypersexualization of, women in the game now is really like fucked up.
Yeah,
in a way. And because I feel like a lot of these like big label heads, they just want to give someone the pretty face. They just want to give someone the one you're going to oogle at and stuff like that. And I remember I was having this conversation last night where there's a producer, or not even a guy who runs a studio, who's like, attracted to this girl, but this girl isn't good at music. So, respectfully, like from what I was told, she's not really that good at music. So, and, she's like, oh, she's the one that's like, but the intentions are just so bad because, you don't care if she's talented, you're going to base her on the looks. And like you said earlier, this game really isn't built for women, but the women, even in this state, show up and show the fuck out. And I've said
we
this.
Run this. Yeah,
I've said this with Isaac Groove too.
You can clock that.
Yeah,
we run this.
Say that. Don't say
we run
this. Say that.
Yeah, say that. We run this. We run New England. Us females, we've been putting in so much work, and we've been carrying the scene. I'm sorry, but we really have.
No lie. There's a lot of the women
not sorry.
doing laps around the dudes, and y'all gotta accept that. If not, then come more correct. I'm just gonna be honest. Literally, me and Isaac had that convo when he was on the ball. We were listing off like 20 of them. We're like, wow, yeah, they're all like lapping folks, and it's like, dudes, you gotta keep up on Dead Dogs. You gotta keep the fuck up. But just back to so that's just how I want people to like listen to you and like hear you, how you carry yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because to the casual eye, like a women in rap is this cookie cutter thing. Yeah. But just like hearing the story of like, the experiences you went through, how you still stood your ground is like, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the definition of like saying that.
To the end, I stood my ground. And yeah, like I missed out on like a few things that could have been, very vital to my journey. But I was like, you're not going to talk to me like that.
All right.
You're not going to tell me to do this. No one's controlling me. This is not, I didn't sign up for this to be controlled and to be processed and to be basically, consumed by these people and not be me.
Right.
If people are going to consume what I have going on with my music, it's going to be the real me. Yeah. And so when they meet me, they're like, oh, it's really you. Right. I think that's a main thing people are always shocked about too, is like, they're like, oh, you're so nice and you're so down to earth and you're so humble. It's like, yeah, like that's
that's called being a good human.
Yeah. Like, they're like, oh, like you'd think that you'd be like, stuck up or because you don't talk and things like that. I'm like, nah, like I like to have a good time. Right. You know what I mean? Like I like to be happy and have a good time. Like, so it's just like, yeah. Like the biggest message from this is definitely just be yourself, and it's worth it. It's worth every second of it. Like I've said.
What's good about like what you just said is, I don't judge from the music standpoint. I can see the ones that put on the mask and have to take it off every day, and it's not themselves. But despite whatever you may have missed out on, you like staying yourself and like keeping your morals and values to yourself. That's richer than like whatever money would put on it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and I judge this a lot from like Boston, like content creators, like, cause I don't like them, not like, I'm gonna keep it a rack. I don't like not the artists, just like the TikTokers and shit like that. Cause it depends on some of them. Like Mike D's, like Harvard's, I love those guys. Those are great guys. And they have educated me on like Boston. I'm talking about like the stereotypical Boston accent, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, Harvard, yeah, this, that, and the other. I'm like, bro, like, you're just, like, on, like, and I'm gonna be honest, it's just like a monkey dancing for the circus and entertainment type shit. And I can tell, like, that just ain't you. You just want that persona because that's gonna get you far. Yeah. And everyone of my friends like, oh, like, you sound like them. You should do it. I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. I'm not doing that. Because I couldn't feel good about myself after like one video.
It's probably
like,
exhausting.
Right. And it's just like, even like posts on Instagram, I'm like, damn, I really gotta like freaking like just edit this video and shit like that. But it's like that, of course, makes me appreciate the grind. But like, if I was doing like that Boston accent shit, I'd be like, I literally would be like the happy and sad face from like you see at like drama plays and shit like that. Like literally the definition of putting on
When
and
the
taking off a
mask comes
mask.
off.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem in this industry, because I say in like one of my earlier interviews, Nim K is me and I am Nim K. Like when I get out the stage, I'm the same exact person. I mean, when I perform, I
attest to
go
that.
somewhere, that I can't even explain. I go somewhere, but I'm the same person whether I'm on the stage or whether I'm not. And I pride myself on that because it's like I'm not wearing a mask. I might be putting on different clothes and stuff, because
Well, yeah.
why not? I
Right.
mean, I'm not going to wear my work clothes to
No,
a
fuck
show,
no, right.
but I'm the same exact person, whether I'm at my 9 to 5 job or whether I'm on the stage or whether I'm, in Canada on tour or whether I'm in New York, with a bunch of, goons and celebrities. I'm the same person and I don't change or fold for anybody. You're not like, one thing about me is if I don't want to do it, it's not happening.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and people want to call it stubborn, but I don't think it's stubbornness. It's just having boundaries. It's knowing, what I want and what I don't want. And, that's why like my name on Instagram is Nim Bougie. I'm bougie with, how you talk to me. I'm bougie with what I accept and what I don't. I'm bougie with energy, I'm bougie with that type of stuff. But far from bougie when it comes to, what it typically would mean.
Right. Absolutely. That's perfectly said. But, this is your debut album and you came absolutely, you went hard with the production. You went hard with like the features and everything on it. Let's just run down the list of like
Yeah.
who's a producer on it. So we got Term, we got Statik, we got Jam, who I like to say
I love Jam.
That's
my brother.
At Hidden Tiger, he came up to me. I go, "What kind of music do you make?" He goes, "I make all music.
makes
I am
everything.
music." He goes, "I am music."
Yeah,
so
he is.
that's how I'm just addressing for
He's
that.
like a
He
mad
just
scientist.
right. He literally is, and yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, that's
He-
accurate. Yeah,
literally.
exactly. We got Latrell James, another
I love
Boston legend.
Latrell.
We got Pauly Sakaro. We got Dame Grease. We got
Oh,
Mitzer.
it's Cicero.
Cicero. I apologize.
It's okay.
We got Dame Grease. We got Mitzer. We got Jake One and Melks. You just assembled the Avengers of freaking production on this thing. You know what I mean? And then for the features, we got also, of course, Term. We got the legend Dutch Rebelle, one of the most important female figures from the Boston music scene. We got John Connor, UFO Fev, and literally Fev. Sorry, I'm not good with the thing to that.
It's okay though.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that and that everyone else knows.
No, right? Because if I see him, I go, "What's up, Fev?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
and
"It's
the people
Fev."
have
Yeah.
done it, and I'm like, what are you doing? People that actually know him, I'm like, why?
Yeah, because if you know him, it's like, hey, come on.
Fev.
And
Who's
then
that?
obviously one of literally my favorite all-time artists, probably when I was in high school, I was bumping this guy a lot, Juicy J.
I
You know what I
love
mean?
I love me some Juicy J.
Oh, absolutely. The collab tape he had with T God Mafia, that still gets spins in my rotation. That's still on my playlist. I was listening to one track today. But so just take me through like the process of like picking this exact group of people and like all, because it really it screams like, yeah, this is what Nim K wanted on this album.
That's exactly what I wanted. Right. But yeah, so I mean, before we even really started, we did this jingle for a place I think everyone knows.
You did that's right. You did the water country.
That's how it all started. Was the water country, and that was kind of when Term realized, oh wow, this girl will, if she knows the opportunities here, she'll come to the studio. She doesn't care what it is. She knows, she trusts me. She'll come and I mean we started off the summer making. I mean when I had just signed, and I literally made that, and we went up to jamming with Pup Dog and everything, and it was ridiculous. So I mean that I think kind of made him realize, okay, like I can really, she's really here for the grind. Like everything on top of that he's seen, the shows and everything like that I was doing 3 shows in one night with different outfit changes. My mom can attest to that. She's been with me for a few of them.
Shout out mama, you know what I'm saying, in the studio right now.
Shout out Big Sue's in the building.
Yeah.
But yeah, Term had given me a list. He's like, make a list of, 5, like A-list or like big, rappers you are musicians or whoever you want to work with. Make a list of, 10 females, local or big. And then, just like a bunch of like local people, you know, that you want to work with. Yeah. And Dutch Rebelle was on my list, top of my list. Juicy J was on my list. And I mean, Mr. Wilson is somebody I've known for a while. He's from Cambridge. And Latrell, I've just fallen in love with how he makes music, how he performs, and his message. And you know, those were some people that were on my list. And we managed to get, I mean, and John Connor, I mean, that man, I've been listening to his music, I mean, since before high school. Right. Like, you know, I mean, Dat Piff, I used to download all of his stuff on there.
Wow, that's a real fan right there. You know what I mean?
Like, and I actually got to like interact. Me and him actually knew each other before Term had like really like made the connection music wise. Of course. I've followed him on Instagram, and I was a huge fan of his, you know, back when I think he was still signed to Dre, or he had just had moved on from that opportunity. But we ended up actually Skyping and talking for like an hour, like almost like a mentorship type of thing. I had moved to North Andover already, so I think I was about like maybe 16. Oh, wow. And I just kind of talked to him and asked him advice and different stuff like that. And we always kept in touch. Like, he's always been like just a real person that takes the time to talk to people who really appreciate what he does. And like, that was just like, it's literally my favorite song on the album, Never Never, you know, with John Connor, and Nasty, producing, which Nasty, that man is quite a legend in himself. But yeah, like, that was probably my favorite feature, just because like I've been obsessed with John Connor for like the majority of the time I've been listening to music. Definitely someone I've always, you know, like just loved like what they do in their message. But yeah, like we made that list, we executed, but also like a lot of these things were like kind of random, like the Latrell beat, that was kind of random because, you know, Term had just kind of started working with him. He's like, oh, how do you feel about him? Maybe I can ask him if you can use one of these beats that he sent me. You know, Statik, that was, you know, that Statik's been blessing me since the beginning. I mean, he's the reason why I even have my first plaque. He's the one who turned my vocals up. He's the one who said, I want her to talk some shit on this track. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's always, you know, been there to support every endeavor that I've ever had. He plays my music all the time on Show Off, you know, so like it was only right, you know, to try to have him on the album and have him included. The Juicy J feature, it was one day, you know, Term hit me up and was like, Gucci Mane or Juicy J, and I'm like, oh my God.
Whoa, okay, so they could have been either or.
Yeah,
wow.
He didn't even say what. He just said pick one, and I was like, I love me some Gucci Mane, but Juicy J will always be the favorite, you know.
Absolutely.
So like, you know, then a week later, we're driving to the Slane show. And he's like, yo, Jam made this beat last night, and he worked it around this acapella of Juicy J that we got. Played that in the car, and you don't even know, bro. When I heard that beat, I heard do 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 do. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I heard Juicy J's voice, and I was like, man, like every person I played that for before it released, I was like, now before you ask me, it's exactly who you think it is.
Right.
It's exactly, and they're looking at me like.
Because I mean, you can't, you know that voice. If you know music, you know that voice. Like,
even she knows who Juicy J is, and she doesn't know who half these people are. You know? so if you know, I mean, Juicy J is a big deal. I mean, you know what I mean? And that crunk, you know, down south ATL, like that was one of my favorite genres of hip hop in general. Like if you know me, you know I love that crunk shit. But yeah, then everything else, I mean, even the Dame Grease, that was really random. I knew who he was, but I didn't really like know how influential he was in hip hop. And then I did my research, like I always do, because I never want to be embarrassed. Right. You know, being in the presence of a legend, like a literal legend.
That's tough, right?
And not even knowing who they are. Yeah. Like that's really embarrassing. Yeah. You know, so, but like just all these all these people, and Pauly Cicero, like he was the first person to send beats for the album. I'm very thankful, you know, because he gave me a lot of great advice. And Melks is just, he's killing the game. That man,
Mike Scarfo can attest that. He was on his platform.
yeah, he works harder than anyone I think I've ever met in this music industry. And he's clean, he's professional, he gets in and gets out. No drama, not one negative thing to say. You know, he gets the job done. You know what I mean? And he's very professional, he's on point, and he does what's asked of him, you know, and being able to create this song, you know, with him and Feeve was amazing. I mean, Feeve, he's Terror Squad all day. That's amazing. You know, working with Dutch, that was really early on. Like, that was one of the first songs we had made for the album. And working with her, seeing how she worked, all the advice, all the life she's spoken to me, it was really important. And I think that's the most cherished experience I had on the journey, because another woman, you know, that's that high up, you know, and that revered, like, you know, kind of like, you know, ducking down to get on my level and speak to me and help me create a great song, that made me feel amazing. You know, that's big sis for real. Like, I really love her. She's awesome, and she's a great person. Yeah. Inside and out, you know, she's a beautiful person. And she really, you know, she was so human at this session, and the way she went in there and just executed, the way she wrote, the way she did it, I really paid attention and took notes. And even to this day, I mean, like, I don't get the pleasure of, you know, hanging out and talking to her as much as I would want to, but every time we do talk, it's always positive, it's always love, it's always uplifting. And I'm just so thankful for that, because I feel like there's a lot of females that don't do that. And it inspired me to want to do that, even if, you know, it's not being reciprocated all the time. Still be a role model, still hold yourself like the queen that you are, and other people will follow suit, you know?
Well, with Dutch, and, you know, she actually, a few months after AOA Studios actually opened, I remember, I don't know if it was Mike or Z or Cam, or all three of them, they, like, brought her in to do, like, not like a mentor program, but like an after school, like, you know, talk to, like, the local kids. I don't know if it was Beverly High. It might have been from the elementary school, like literally right down the street here. But just seeing that, I was like, wow, because starting the podcast, you understand what the music scene is about. Because early on, and I'll say this all the time, the first guy I ever learned about was Hefe Replay. And then you look at like Dutch Rebelle, with him and
R.I.P.
You know, close, absolutely. God bless my boy Replay. But you just find out who people are as you get into this. And the one thing I want for this scene is, you don't have to get into a creative lane to find these people.
No, you don't.
Know, yes, word of mouth is good and all that stuff. Word of mouth is good, but I would just like to see a show where, in a way, it isn't everybody that we know there. It's literally like maybe 20, 30, 50 people that we don't. Like, in a packed out room where, like, they are supporting local music. Because I do, like the Jungle, for example, like, they do those local, like, you know, bands and like rock and roll and stuff, and people will like literally like from where the street is going there. So it's like, why not with hip hop? You know, why not? Like, I understand that people have to bring other people out, but that's what's gonna push the music here more, is if we literally just have people who want to come in off the street and like, oh, what's going on tonight? Oh, Bars Over Bar show. Oh, a Hustle Killer show. Like, you know, that's the kind of like energy we need from people, because there's a whole lot of hardworking people here.
A lot.
But it's how those shows like pan out and stuff like that. It can't just be like a hangout get together. It actually, you know, it kind of it has to be. If everyone in the room, a
real show,
right? If everyone in the room is like a friend of each other, that's cool. But like, we need like actual people we don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You can't make a circle exclusive and then expect to grow.
Right. No,
it's like you can't just, it's like a secret society, and then it's like, oh, how come no one's coming to my show? Because nobody knew about it.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody knew about it, bro.
No, yeah. You gotta push it out. You know what I'm saying?
And I scan for things. If I don't know about it, you're not promoting it enough.
Right, absolutely
clearly.
not. Right.
Because like, if I could see just a flyer and be like, and I'll just post it just to post it because I want to support those people, whether I'm going or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's a big problem is like a lot of people, they want to try to protect or control the environment so much that they don't understand how neglectful that is to the rest of the community, you know? So that's a really good point you brought up.
Because and I've heard this point brought up before, but just over my years of, trying to throw shows and like seeing like, it's good support, but that's how these legends become legends, is because they grow their fan base. If you go to a Termanology show, you even Hidden Tiger, I'm sure that like there's people that just come in off the street and like, oh, we're planning on this because, Statik's running the keys and it's like Turn's release party or some shit like that. It's friggin', I remember a week after me and Jeff came, like Westside and Benny were there. Like it's that type of crazy.
Yeah.
It's that type of crazy ass shit. So it's like, that's how you do it. Like, Hidden Tiger's just a bar. But it still gets packed out.
Yeah,
so
some
it's like,
nights
okay.
no one's even there.
Right.
Like...
Exactly. Yeah, like a Tuesday, Wednesday night, Monday night. Like, who's there? But I look at a place like The Jungle or like Middle East Upstairs or, I'm sure there's freaking another place I'm not even thinking of. But those can get packed. But let's bring the fans in.
Right.
Let's not just have... Because the community's important, but in a way, it's not everything. The way you build the community is by getting fans. If there's no fans there, then it's like, all right, you're kind of plateauing and like you're not really going to go any higher.
Right.
So that's just obvious observations and I think is just important in general. But, Queen of Misfits is out now, put in work for 2 straight years. You know what I'm saying? You said you got another album on the way. So what does the future hold for Nim K for the rest of 2025 and beyond?
I think for the rest of 2025, I'm definitely taking time for myself.
Absolutely.
Probably not. People probably aren't going to see me as much as they have been. I mean, like out and about, maybe more so, but probably not as much as I have been the past 2 years. But I think more so just kind of like getting back to like not being in survival mode. Because in that mode, I kind of lost some of my softness. I was, stressed out. I was barking at people, like, because I just wanted things done a certain way. And sometimes you have to be like that to get things done. You got to let people know, like, this isn't a game. Like, get it together.
Yeah,
I said this once.
I have to manage.
What did I say it again?
I have to manage, like, my employees at work and, like, in a public setting, I don't like to, like you said, bark at people, but like it gets to a point where it's like, all right, can y'all listen to me?
Yeah.
Please.
Exactly. So it's like, I think I'm going to be able to just enjoy my summer.
As you
and
should.
Be like, just go back to being like, softer, like going to bed at a regular time.
I'm trying my best with that too. Don't worry.
Like just like taking time for myself again, because I've been extremely selfless this whole journey. I've driven to New York, driven back, slept for like an hour, went to work, did a show, supported somebody. You know what I mean? Like It's like I'm trying to take this time for myself to be around myself, my family. Yeah,
because that gets emotionally taxing a bit.
Yeah, and to just kind of go, like, not revert back, but just kind of find a healthy balance between, being a boss lady and also being able to just be a feminine and, and be just a lady, like that just wants to kind of sit there and like just wants to sit there and look pretty.
Right,
like,
exactly, yeah.
And he doesn't, I don't want to always have to be like, yo, what's good? Or like, yo, get
some bars right now.
Yeah, like,
quick,
yo, nigga, get
it.
out of my face. Or, like, I don't like having to be like that. I can be, but I really don't like it. So it's like now that, I feel like also like I want an opportunity to show my fans who I am, because I feel like that's a big thing that's kind of been missing. People just been looking at my social media and they think that's what they see is like literally what it is. But there's so much more to me, and I like doing podcasts like this and actually getting the time to sit down with people and talk with them or be in the studio or grow, with the people that I already know, and then also my fans seeing a different side of me. I feel like that's gonna help with my journey, but also help like me understand that you don't have to say yes to everything. like not every opportunity is for you, you know, and just kind of like taking a step back to reassess how I want to move forward. So I'm taking a lot of time to kind of move in silence. A lot of my moves won't be like as announced as they were before. And just kind of like taking all the information that I've learned and applying it how it best suits me. You know, like Term's method, I mean, obviously the guy has over 50 albums, you know, clearly it's effective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
it might not be, you know, like what I want or how I want to do it. But, you know, he gave me all the recipes, and he gave me, you know, the sauce on how to get this done, how it's accomplished. You know, the cheat codes, or the, you know, the little things that help you along the way that other people might not know. But now I want to apply it to me and how, you know, I like to move. And, you know, I'm someone who I can't hide how I feel about anything. It's virtually impossible. Like the minute I'm pissed off, like it doesn't matter how hard I try, everyone feels it. Like when I'm mad, the world burns. When I'm sad, the world floods. When I'm happy, there's sunshine everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like, you know, I feel like
say that. You know
say
what I'm saying?
that.
That's what I'm saying. Say that. You know.
So I just feel like sometimes the way that some of these old heads approach things, like they can just go in there after somebody just, you know, like said they were gonna give them this deal, or they were gonna be a part of this deal, and then cut them out without them even knowing, and they show up and they're like, oh, you're not a part of this no more. And then they have to just carry on like everything's okay. I can't do that.
No.
I mean, I might not sit there and cuss you out immediately. I might take time, like a few days to process like what just happened, and then have a conversation with you. But like, I'm not going to sit there and just be like, oh, shit happens. Like, no, this person said they were going to do something. They didn't do it. They changed the whole game. And now you expect me to be okay with that and act like everything's okay? No, I'm not doing that.
Fuck that.
Like what?
They like want you to just fall in line. They don't want you to like
exactly.
like for someone to like speak up to them is like so foreign to them, you know, and it's
it
like
becomes routine.
Right.
And then you become stuck in that cycle, and no one's gonna, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
No one's gonna tell me what to do, or no one's gonna disrespect me.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do is it gets me into trouble sometimes, but I stand up for myself and I stand up for other people.
Yeah.
And I stand up for what's right. And I don't, you know, whether, you know, it you know, the outcome is negative or positive, it's like I can't just hold back how I feel. I don't want resentment towards people. I want to be able to work with people going forward, but I want to hold people accountable, because that's something that I feel like the older generation doesn't really do. They just kind of sweep everything under the rug, or oh, that's just like, how it is, right. Or that's how things always
dudes
were.
Dudes will be dudes type shit.
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
it's just like me. Like, I'm not for that. Like, I'm an activist. I'm a revolutionary, you know, icon, you know, like in my own right. And I, you know, stand with, you know, any minority. I stand with people as in general, human rights. I stand with women. I stand with, you know, anything that I don't agree with. But I also agree in educating people as well, you know. So, I think I'm just going to take the time to, you know, nurture what is around me, and like, you know, like all those ideas you've been, you know, saying about the community and how we have to let other people in. I want to be that leader that tells everybody, you know, or shows everybody this is possible.
Right.
You can do. I remember going to a show and someone was like, Nim, if you don't make it, I don't know if anyone could. And I'm just like, wow, like that's a crazy impact to have when people are like, wow, like you can get on the radar. That means I can get on the radar. Like you can do it. You did it. And you're right here at like a Hustle Killer show in Malden. You know what I mean? Like you were just in New York on the radar, and now you're sitting here with me just smoking a joint.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, I just want people to know, like, you know, you can do it. I want, you know, and I want to just somehow, I want to create something that gives people that just uplifts people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I plan for the rest of this year, is to just continue to support, continue to help grow these platforms, can do whatever influence that I have, and to really just shed light on anybody who needs the light shed on them.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, everyone works so hard, you know, and they do it the right way, and they constantly get beat down because they're not, a sellout, or they're not going to kiss somebody's ass. And that's horrible. That's a big thing in Boston. If they can't control you, they don't let you go to the top.
Absolutely not.
So, like, granted, I love, all these award shows and everything, but this last Boston Music Awards show, someone was like, oh, like, are you going to be here accepting an award next year? I was like, no, I'm going to be here with my Grammy.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like,
no, yeah.
You can't make...
The BMA is just this, like the minor league of, like, winning shit.
Yeah, you can't... I don't want anyone to think there's a ceiling.
No,
like,
right.
I had a dream, and I dreamt it, and now I have a tangible CD, that I can hold and look at. And by the way, I'm so sorry. I forgot your CD.
I'm going to plug it. Physical copies are available, so go buy one.
But I forgot yours. You're going to get it.
I will buy one. Yeah,
No, you don't get... No,
okay.
no.
All right, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I'm giving you one.
Out there, buy one right now. You know what I'm saying? Because we need physical art. We love physical art.
I had it. Yeah. I didn't bring my car. Me and my mom, we took her car today. Okay. But I've been selling them things out the trunk.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like mixtapes.
Old school wise.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I've been like, you want a copy? I got him in the car.
You want to know what's funny? A couple of weeks ago, Finelia was selling the Drug Money tape
I love that man.
Hall, right? And he's like, yo, bro. And I looked at him like, oh, shit. Because I never met him. I've only been following him on IG.
He's a beast.
I looked at him like, oh,
him
bro, you're Finelia. And he's like, yeah.
Shout out
I'm
Easy
like,
Money.
Right, exactly. That's what I say. Easy Money, too. I'm like, yeah, like, I told him about say that. I was like, yeah, I've had Term on and stuff like that. Like, Chairman Chow's like my boy and shit like that. He's like, I've had Fabian on. So he's like, shit.
Yeah,
like,
I love Fabian,
he's like, bro,
too.
how did you like me not like it? It's like, I felt bad because he was selling them. And I didn't have any physical cash on me. But he's like, don't worry, bro. So, like, Finel, next time, all right, I'm a double it. If you're selling it for $10, I'm going to buy it for 20. So, just so you know. But anyways, yes, you do flip. You are flipping physical copies.
Yeah,
too.
I'm flipping them.
We need some vinyls though. You know what I mean?
Well, that's also a thing I'm working on. I want to create something really special when it comes to that. I want it to be a real collector's item. So I've taken, just like with everything on this album, like it's very unconventional, but I like to take my time. I like things to be right. I don't want to just rush something and put it out and then, because I'm the type of person that I'll put it out and not be happy with it, and I'll never want to look at it, listen to it, anything, and I'll be like, "Oh, shut that off!" Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
get that way with like my voice sometimes on the podcast.
Yeah, it has
like,
to be perfect.
Yeah.
So I've been just taking my time with every aspect of this because it's my first. You know what I mean? And I want to do it right so that next time I'm doing it, even better and better and better. I want to just level up.
Until it becomes literally just like clockwork and it's muscle memory.
Exactly.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was all beautifully said. I think this episode literally is the definition of saying that. You know what I'm saying? It's the definition. Don't say this, say that. That's Nim K right there. You know what I'm saying? But as always, ladies and gentlemen, go buy, listen, whatever the fuck you want to do with it. As long as you're consuming it, Queen of Misfits, it's out right now. You know what I'm saying? Nim K, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where can they find you? All socials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just say it right now.
Any social media, it's gonna be Nimbougie, NIMBOUJEE. Also, $sign Nimbougie. That's my cash app. If you're feeling generous. But then Nim K on all streaming platforms, NIM space K with a dot. Speaking of dot, shout out to ST dot, ST the family, ST the squad, the shout out to Termanology, none of this would be possible without him. Shout out to Ariana Rose, shout out to, everybody that's been helping me, and who's been supporting me. Out to my mom over there on the couch.
Sir, came through. I love it.
And I just shout out to this community. Shout out to everyone who, my people, my fans, my haters, anybody, And I just want to say, God bless, and just be yourself.
Absolutely.
Be yourself, everybody.
Absolutely.
There's only one you. We don't need a bunch of the same people walking around. We don't need a bunch
of... No more comparisons, no more nothing. Just there's only one Nim K and there's always going to be one Nim K.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, which I'm sure you did, and you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button to help grow this podcast further. And don't forget to follow us on Apple Music and Spotify. If you would like to follow us on IG, please, the IG is say_that_pod. That's a podcast page. You can follow myself. It's REPETE617. And please go listen to more Nim K's music because it's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? But, as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. And y'all know the drill. Don't say this, say that. And we'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.